the relevant users. And usertesting.com is a paid one, but it's a very good service because within 2 hours you start getting results from them. Although there needs to be somebody, an expert, who will be evaluating and creating a report for you. So this is just a screenshot to share that what this look back does. It just uses your mobile camera to record the expressions of the users, and if they are expressive, they are thinking loud about what they are looking for, what is missing, can be done. Not just that, it also shows you a graph which is more like kind of a heat map or the error areas where your user were taking maximum time to make a click. So this is not just limited to web, it is available, sorry, not just limited to mobile, but it is also available for web and iOS and Android both. So it's primarily my focus is that reach out to your actual users, do as much evaluation you want to do, go to them 5 times, 10 times, do that. Unless you don't take your product to the market, you won't get the right feedback, and don't wait till the end of the product. This has to be an ongoing. While you are doing the initial sketching of ideas, building over it, why to move to a development stage where already your developers have spent so much time building it and then testing it. It has to be an ongoing process. One new feature, one new flow added, go and test. Take it to the people, go to any of the malls. Take it, if you are creating a medical product, take it to hospitals, take it to doctors, and that is what we also do. We take out, we just visit 3 or 4 hospitals, which we have done it in Noida, took paper sketches and did testing with our customers. And trust me, the feedback is actually surprising. At times, what we think, okay, this concept may not work, the other may work, but we get surprises. And it is good to get feedback, and if you are getting some negative feedback, please accept it in a very positive manner, because your end goal is to get the right product for your users. Another thing which we also focus upon is customer journey. So this is a snapshot of the Virgin client that we did with them. So this is more about once you move into a stage of where you feel, okay, you have designed it, now you are developing it, sprints are done, things are almost at a good stage, and your product is good to launch. Step back for a minute and try to go back from the very first point, that what goal you were trying to achieve. Have you met that? Because during the process of build, due to technical issues or due to any other constraints, we tend to see that there are a lot of changes that keep on happening, and the vision might change over the time. So this is more about validating and also making sure that once a product is launched, how do you retain or engage your users, right? Because it's not once you have launched, it's not the end of the product. You want to continuously bring your users back and keep engaging them, building that excitement. Unless that excitement is not there, nobody would come to your product, or even you would not go to any product, right? It's more like why you would go to a Costa. Once you like the coffee, you like the sandwich, you would like to go back there. Whether it's the ambience you are liking or with your friends, you can chit chat over there, whatever it is, but there is something which is bringing you back over there. Just a quick note, how your conversion rates can be looked upon is from the perspective, do have A/B testing. So A/B testing doesn't need to include a complete design of the complete page or a view or a screen. It can be just one small element. Even the placement of the navigation could be done. So A/B testing is primarily testing 2 things. It could be colors, it could be interaction, it could be the label of the button, whether it needs to be a radio button or a drop down, whatever it is. Those small things which require quick testing should be opted for. Then definitely create a compelling and clear value proposition. That is why your user would come to the product, because they want to know what they are going to get out of it. Cut the jargon. Don't use jargons. It is very good to be used as a marketing skill, but for your users, because you'll get all kind of users, right? There could be a category of users, but even those category There would be different age groups. There would be different kind of personas for those users, the demographics and all. So that is where make it very simple and clear for the user. If any, I'm sure a lot of people would be using Apple phones. Why it is easy? Because you don't need training. Nowadays we don't get, whether it's Android, iOS devices or any, you don't get manuals nowadays. Why don't you get manuals? Because things are becoming so simple for the user to automatically try and using it. You don't need much guidance. You don't look for tutorials. Earlier, whenever we used to buy something, we used to get a small booklet with it, right? Just you'll read first and then you'll start to switch on your power button and other things. Now you don't do that. Okay. Increase trust in your user, that is very important, whether the way we were talking about. You need to build trust with your users. In your case, the users were doctors who were using the app. So the trust within the group who will be using it is very important. They might be the consumers of the information, they might be consuming the data, or they might be pushing the data for the third group. Okay. Remove distraction, definitely, I guess we all understand this. And we all know there is a tendency, and especially Indian mentality that we have, we'll compare the prices. Whether it is for a product, we'll compare the features of it, we'll make sure what our friends are buying it, what are their feedbacks and reviews to it. And people will go to multiple sites to do that. So if you're buying a product from Amazon, you'll open another window or a tab to check the cost at the Flipkart or any other e-commerce site. So you know your user is going to do. Why not make sure that your user stays on your site and give him the comparisons out there only. Give him that flexibility that he doesn't go out of your product. He just stays inside that window. So leverage that. So the focus is actually user behavior differs for personal devices, and that is changing right now. It is more important for us to understand how much people are engaging with this digital world. Even right now, I could see so many people on their mobile doing something or the other. Our life is not away from mobile devices. We are so much into it. We understand it, so make sure it is the need of the hour. You also understand and build a product which helps the users for multi-platforms. That's all, I guess. I've covered that. The time is now. And I'm available for any question and answers that you may have. I'm seated here only, so come over and we can talk. Otherwise, you can drop me an email or connect with me over LinkedIn, whatever works best with. Any questions, any thoughts? Right away. Yeah, please.
Hi, my name is Saurav, and I run a news media agency. So we are experimenting with a new mobile concept where we're trying to communicate news without text and pictures, but entirely through videos. So I just wanted to quickly ask you, like, what key trends do you see playing in the mobile space in the next 3-4 years? Like, in the sense of, like, vertical videos have been validated by Snapchat pretty well. Other people are trying to come up with similar solutions. And then other features like material design is doing pretty well on mobile, also validated. So besides these two, what other trends do you see like popping up and which we should be paying attention to as product developers?
I guess what I would recommend is somewhere try to connect with IoT. That is the thing, that is Internet of Things. That is what is catching up. And believe me, within 2017, by 2017, you'll see a big change the way people are using their information. So try connecting your information through IoT. How you do it, I guess that is more where your research will add a value and what kind of users you are trying to target upon. Is it focused on any specific region, any specific age group, what kind of news it will be it be sports, entertainment and all. So that kind of data maybe you need to break down and then see how you can take it, right? Just a small example I can add that now people will move into a tendency that when they enter into their home, or maybe let's take a different scenario, that you get up early in the morning at 7 a.m. and your newspaper hasn't come in. You don't want to switch on the TV, right? So your system, your house system needs to be smart enough that when the alarm rings, your TV screen or your mobile app starts giving you those news feed. It could be through audio. So that kind of sensor-based settings are also being created. So that is what you can start exploring at. All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Deepika. I think
Thank you.
very nice examples, and finally a very nice example for a question also.
Sure.
I'd like to ask Hoshi Kaswala to please come on stage and present a memento to Deepika. And we have one session. Do we all have pen and paper with us? Yeah? Okay, it's very important because the workshop, I was told that you guys have to have pen and paper by the our innovation expert. So I'm just checking that you all have that. And while that's happening, I'd like to invite our next speaker on stage.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deepika. Prashanto K. Roy. Now, as we fondly call him, PKR. So PKR is a media consultant with more than 2 decades of experience. I've had the pleasure of working with him, under him, when he was editor of PC Quest. He is right now consulting a lot of well-known media brands like BBC, IANS, Al Jazeera. He writes for print and web, writes about technology, green technology, internet-related issues, a whole lot of things. And somebody here actually talked about how do I promote my app. So PKR, while you were not there, somebody said this question that I would like to know how do I promote my app. So I said we have a session just for that, just for you. And possibly you will be able to get some takeaways from the session. So this actually is about how do you really enhance your reach, on the digital mediums, whether it's through, social media or whether it's web. So PKR is going to take us through, this session on how do you really enhance and, reach out to your customer. So PKR, over to you.
Yeah, thanks. Just trying to, am I live? Okay, great, thanks. Great, in fact, on promoting apps, I think this was a good connect with the last session. I was listening to Deepika on UX. And UX, interestingly, is, I mean, I think the holy grail is having UX so great that itself creates the virality around promoting an app or anything else, any business. UX is not just about apps. I have this in a place, I don't know if you know, but apart from the things I do on the technology front, I'm into green buildings, and my home is in CR Park, is one of the first. It's actually the first certified green home. So right next to it, there's a little chocolate shop. Okay, it's called Chocolatiers. Anyone ever been there in CR Park, Chocolatiers? No. So if you live in that area or anywhere around, that shop is pretty well known. And I think the best way to describe, so essentially people say it's a great place to go, it's fun. You go in and there's chocolates around all over, all kinds of little liquor chocolates, nicely wrapped. The owner's usually sitting there. If you speak to him, he'll tell you all about chocolates. If you just have to ask him one question on, why is this chocolate like this, or why are chocolates so different in price, or what are dark chocolates, and he'll tell you about the history of cocoa. The UX of that place is great, and everyone who describes that experience, very few people know of UX or the term UX, but what they're describing is UX. Going in for the experience of the place. Very few people really go and say the chocolates were outstanding, but the whole experience of that was so great that the sheer virality of that has led to, I think, a situation where UX translates into virality, which translates into people talking and coming in. I've seen the same thing with apps, not a great number of apps, and there are literally millions of apps out there now. Very few of them have UX so great that itself becomes the speaking point, especially at first launch. Apps kind of evolve. I think there have been a few in India, and whether or not how well they do further down remains to be seen, because very few apps, as you know, land up making money on their own unless they're fronting a business which is making money, which could be an MMT or some other, Zomato or something like that, which has got a revenue stream. But most apps on their own, either the holy grail is a liquidity event where you're bought out by a Bharti SoftBank or somebody else, or it's great, it gathers a lot of people, and then someday you hope to be acquired, or someday you hope to make money. But of the apps I can think of, so Juggernaut, for example, there's this publisher. Any of you use the app? Any of you? Okay, you haven't, then I do recommend you try it out. And this isn't part of my thing, but it's the last bit on this UX and virality. I think the great thing about this is a publisher. It's a digital mobile only publisher. And the great thing about it, people found when it was launched 3 or 4 months ago, is that from the decision to download on the Play Store and now it's on the App Store as well, to purchasing and reading a book was literally 2 or 3 minutes. If you have a decent enough connection, you press download on that, it lets you connect, use Facebook or Google or whatever for authentication. You click that and you land up straight into a book. And they got a phenomenal number of downloads. Of course, it helped that their, the launch book that they have, which you hit when you first launch and open the app, was by Sunny Leone. And I don't know how many of you, read Sunny Leone or know of, I'm sure you have friends who do. But that helped in the success. But I think people went back to the app and bought books and so on for the sheer UX of the thing. That I would say is a kind of holy grail in terms of having a UX of whether it's a Kirana store or a chocolate shop or a hypermarket or an app. So great that people talk about it and tell others that you've got to go there because, not because the prices are low, because the UX is great. So I'm going to just run through a few snapshots of the digital, of using digital and using not just digital but media. And in fact, that I've talked about digital plus media and not digital media or digital or media, because it's really a combination of both. And whatever you say about digital, the fact is that there's a tremendous dependence and there's a tremendous respect for mainstream media's ability to amplify something. However much people might talk about the death of media and so on, finally, it's when that tweet is picked up by a Times Now or by a Times of India or whatever, that's when you say, oh wow, that has really gone viral. So with startups, we get, as media people, we get a lot of press releases. We used to in the past. Now it's multiplied 100-fold because now there are startups. And those startups hire PR agencies and they send a press release. And the press release says, I have launched a new app. Okay, and why should you not write about it? Because it's a new app. I've launched it. It's often at events when you launch the startup, okay, you'll, and some of them, you'll have specific events like when you're running in for a pre-funding run-up. That's another typical place where you suddenly say, oh, I want a PR agency, I want 6 press releases over the. And the media is now increasingly wary of this, they will actually, if that startup is well known enough or they know somebody, they'll find out, oh, are you, in the run up to a Series A or into some kind of funding? Watch this sudden burst of press releases. Most of the time, the media person, the editor, the reporter, the journalist doesn't have the same degree of care, doesn't really care in the way that you do about the fact that you are launching an app or going in for funding or whatever. Now, you've got to figure out what is it that connects with them.